All right, back to the next graphic here, and we're going to talk about some special factoring next. All right, so special factoring, we want to talk about perfect squares, the concept of what makes something a perfect square. So notice on the graphic here, I have anything raised to the second power or squared yields a perfect square. And I gave you all kinds of fun examples here. 1 squared 1, 2 squared 4, 3 squared 9, 4 squared 16, and yada, yada, and so on. All right, so anything raised to the second power is a perfect square. Now in the next graphic, how about variables, Young? All right, any variable or variable quantity whose exponent or power is divisible by 2 is a perfect square. Why? All right, so notice I've given you some examples here in the graphic. X squared equals what to the second power? X to the fourth equals what to the second power or squared? And right on down the line, so y'all think about this graphic for a second and we will go and answer those questions right now. So squares are going to be something we're going to need to look at. So here was the examples from the graphic there. So if you think about it, x squared is what raised to the second power? That one should not be a whole lot to think about. X, yeah, so if I square x, I'll get x squared, or that's equal to, we know, x times x if we write it out. All right. What squared gives me x to the fourth? Now remember, this is power rule number 5. You multiply the exponents, you would get x squared squared. Multiplying would give me x to the fourth. So any variable that has an even power or divisible by 2 is a perfect square. Or we could write this out as x squared times x squared as well. Okay. What squared gives me x to the 6? Some people don't think x to the 6 is a perfect square variable, x cubed squared. So yes, x cubed times x cubed. So here, notice we have power rule number 5 from the past. Whenever you have a power raised to a power, you do what with them? Multiply. Or if you wrote it out this way, whenever you multiply same bases, you add the powers to get back over here. So good review in here. Then I tried to throw you some real nasty ones. Oh, Young, why do you do this to me? X to the 8th, y to the 10th is what squared? Well, you'll see a pattern here happening down the line. Just kind of take half, and you'll get x to the 4th, y to the 5th. So it's almost like dividing by 2 there when you are looking for these magic numbers. And if I square that, I'll get what's in here. All right, and you can even do perfect square quantities. If you take something that's raised to the 12th power, what squared gives me this? You can take that whole darn thing, that 2x plus 3, and raise it to guess what power? The 6th. So you can even have giant perfect, these are quantities with perfect squares involved in them. And when we get down to our next lesson here, we're going to talk a lot about perfect squares and how we call them special factoring. It's going to be a very nice shortcut for factoring these things that have these squares in them. So that's going to be very nice points to make. And if we wanted to, we could even take maybe a fraction if we wanted to. We haven't talked about that, like 1/16. We could also make that into a square, 1/4 squared. So we'll talk more about it next. In closing, remember the successful strategies we are trying to instill in each of you. With effort comes understanding. With understanding comes success. And with success comes confidence and perhaps even happiness. Think about it. Take care. We'll see you next time.